Good afternoon and welcome to our panel on partnerships. It's my privilege to act as your moderator today. My name is Samantha Licio, and by way of introduction, I was honored to be awarded the CIO of the Year in the public sector category for 2020. And I think a large part of that success was due to understanding the importance of partnerships, which is what we're here to talk about today. We'll be discussing the importance of partnerships as they exist in Western Canada and where they can provide that acceleration potential for achieving business outcomes, and where they can drive efficiencies and where they can enable innovation. So it's my pleasure to introduce Dr. Barb Carra, the President and CEO of Cyberra, Roy Tal, the CTO of Visual Defence, Justin Rutley, the Director of Customer Success at Munisite, and Darren Young, who's both the CIO of the City of Delta in British Columbia and the President of MISA BC. So if I can ask each of you to give our audience a quick introduction of who you are and what your role is, starting with you, Barb.
Thank you for the introduction, Samantha. You speak to partnerships, and Cyberra, by definition, as a not-for-profit or member-driven organization in the province of Alberta, we really are strongly reliant on our partnerships with the members that we serve. And so from an organization perspective, I have the pleasure and privilege of working really closely with our 26 post-secondary institutions in Alberta, as well as a small handful of our K-12 school districts, our provincial government, municipalities across our province, and other not-for-profit sector partners, because really everything that we do from that technology level in terms of enabling access to the digital environment really does revolve around partnerships. So completely agree with those opening remarks.
So my name is Roy Tal. I'm the Chief Technology Officer of Visual Defence, and it's a real pleasure to be here with so many interesting people that have a lot of interesting things to discuss, I'm sure. And for us, I think one of the things that I'm really excited to talk about today is the partnership that we've had with over 50 organizations across Canada, something that we've managed to put together in less than 1 year. And I really look forward to share this and also to see from our other panelists what they have to say about partnerships and collaboration today.
Hey everyone, my name is Justin Rutley. I'm the Director of Customer Success for Munisite. So I help our approximately 500 municipalities across Western Canada connect and simplify their municipal information to make data-informed decisions. So I'm really excited to talk about partnerships and how we work with vendors, nonprofits, governments to help that information flow throughout municipalities in Western Canada.
So Darren Young, I'm the President of MISA BC. My day job is the CIO at the City of Delta. I'm really excited to be here today. I've had and seen the power that partnership can deliver in terms of delivering services to residents, and I'm looking forward to an exciting conversation.
Well, thank you so much, panelists. So let's jump right in. Even pre-pandemic, we were in a world, I think you'll agree, where data is growing at an explosive rate, where cyber attacks are forcing organizations to spend extraordinarily to protect data. And infrastructure is often outdated within weeks of its release, and really no organization can do it all. So what are some of the ways municipalities are partnering to get the best outcomes and the best bang for their buck? And maybe if I can start with you, Barb.
What we've been doing from a provincial perspective is building a platform of collaboration around cybersecurity. And this involves shared opportunities around process, people, and technology. And in some cases, we're looking to opportunities to reduce costs and create efficiencies by setting up shared cybersecurity tools and opportunities like a shared security event information management system, for example. Because we can start monitoring traffic and threats over the network, we can do this in a shared environment where by looking at what's happening, we can share that information back to the sector for them to make their own decisions with. And so we're looking at ways of doing cybersecurity in better, cheaper, faster ways where those partners are actually part of the solution.
So Darren, in the municipal environment, what would you say are some of those opportunities?
Partnerships are important to all of us, but I think they're also exceedingly important to smaller municipalities that have neither the resources nor the people to cover all the bases. In BC, we certainly look to other levels of government internally for support in the cyber world. We have very close relationships with the provincial government. And we also we have a presence on a number of national boards and are involved with public safety. as well as, of course, our Municipal IT Association, which is the association of which I'm president. Our goal really is about sharing knowledge, providing education, and networking.
So Roy, what are some of the ways that you're seeing that municipalities, government entities, the broader sector are partnering to get that bang for the buck?
We've really dealt this year and basically collaborated with governments ranging from small towns with less than 3,000 people to some really, really large cities. So you can really see a big variety in terms of the approach that is taking place to information security. And one thing that I think is a really powerful tool that doesn't require a lot of work for municipalities to implement is a cloud review process. So what we've seen through, especially now that there's a lot of platforms that are SaaS-based, meaning that the vendor hosts all of the infrastructure off the government premises, and the government can access it. What we found is that some of the larger cities have really robust cloud review questionnaires that allows the municipalities to quantify the risk that's associated to work with certain vendors.
What ways are governments and agencies and institutions partnering amongst themselves, specifically to do more with less? Because I think, especially during COVID, we're being asked to constrain budgets, but actually to deal with more than before. So maybe, Darren, if I can start with you, what ways are you seeing partnerships happening where we can be able to get better outcomes for less investment?
Right. I mean, certainly, I think it falls into two categories in the municipal space. Group buys and sharing work product. Several years ago, 25 cities in British Columbia worked together to do basically a replacement of a parks and recreation management system, really an enterprise grade product. The work involved, if you could imagine, hundreds of people doing requirements engineering together to figure out the requirements of a new system, and then going through the design and execution of a group buy process with a tendering framework. At the end of the day, of course, huge savings. We probably save 50% off the annual subscription cost of the product.
I'm going to take here maybe also a different approach that I've seen worked in our case, and I think it's also being more and more common, which is partnering with the private sector on joint R&D projects, on demonstration projects, on things like this. And really, when you partner with the private sector and you say, hey, I'm willing to be a trial partner for you, I'm willing to invest time in trying this and seeing how it works for me. What I get out of this as a municipality or as a government organization is I get to be educated basically for free about this technology, or technology like your technology. It doesn't mean that they have to buy it from you. And also it allows them to basically start to assess and plan better.
Justin, how are you seeing that partnering happening across governments, municipalities?
We focus really on being a trusted advisor. So when we make that different shift, people are willing to be more open to saying, okay, we're 5 municipalities in a beta, and we all would like these things. These are nice to haves, but let's focus on the use case. And when you focus on the use case, everyone in that group, it allows them to change that mental shift to go, oh, we're actually all trying to do the same thing. This allows us to tailor a product that does work for everybody. And it also is something that's more out of the box.
We've been in pandemic response mode for almost a year now. How has the remote posture made it easier to partner across the country or across the world? Or is it making things more difficult? I'd be interested in your perspectives related to that.
Now with remote working, everybody knows in the rural municipalities how to use Microsoft Teams at the very minimum. It comes with their Microsoft package. So when we can have more people talk to them. So someone that maybe is a tax expert or a agricultural field person, they can now quickly talk to somebody that's on the support team and go, you know what, if you change this one little thing, this would make my life so much easier.
That whole notion of accessibility to experts is something that you don't hear very often when we talk about working remotely.
One other thing that's really interesting, it's allowed us to put our guards down, especially in the municipal space. When my dog's running across, or I see someone that's been very formal, like a CAO, they're very formal, they manage a lot of things, and all of a sudden their kids start yelling and jump on it. It breaks down that relationship barrier, and they'll give you some real feedback.
Barb, how are you seeing that remote posture make a difference?
Yeah, I was going to say, I agree with Roy and Justin's points, but I also have to say it's also harder for a lot of people. And this is where I'll speak to my organization in terms of its networking expertise and our advocacy around the concepts of and issues around connectivity. And we're still seeing actually, and I'd almost say that that digital barrier, that digital divide is growing, because when you do move everything online and you do go to remote delivery of education and services, all of a sudden, those people who aren't able to connect anymore really are at a disadvantage. And that disadvantage only becomes heightened because of the current situation.
One other part on the barrier, I was speaking earlier on the call that, in the city here tonight, we're having a fairly large public hearing, and it's entirely virtual. So if you take a look at that from a demographic perspective, I think it tends more towards seniors in our community aren't familiar with this type of technology, and it's been a real learning curve from them. And it's, in some ways, it's made democracy and government farther away than it should be. Now, these are trying times, and we'll get through this, but it is certainly a limitation of technology.
Yeah, so when we talk to either a client or another vendor or a nonprofit, what we're looking at, we look for really three key things. So I call it, are they providing actual value? And how do I break down actual value? I think of relationships. So number one, what are they doing in the community? Do they have strong relationships? Are they a trusted advisor? What do they do? The second one, I think about is utilization. Are people actually using what they're doing? Is it providing some sort of value that way around utilization? And then the last one, which I think is really important, is business. Are they doing the right thing? There's a book called The Go Giver that I really, really recommend to everyone. And the basis of it is, if you do the right thing, business will follow. So that's kind of our mentality, is when someone calls for a quick question, we're always there to answer it. We're not going to go back and bill it. That's something that's really scary for a lot of people. So how do you do business? Are you doing it ethically? Are you hiring local people in the municipalities? Are you looking at First Nations and how it's going to affect them? Are you building something that's going to work for rural municipalities all the way up to someone a little bit bigger? So the business, those are the three type of things that we look for when we do a partnership.
And so you're trying it, you're testing it, you're validating it, you're iterating and building that relationship as you go through that process.
Our goal for any partnership that we do, even when we have a client, we call it a 5-year journey. If you're not going to be with us for 3 to 5 years, it's not the right partnership for you. That's when you start seeing that realization of the value and getting it embedded within your municipality.
So Roy, from the perspective of a vendor, how do you find partners that are going to, have those key features in the partnership that excite you and excite your business? And how do you make that determination?
So I'm going to say that the key thing that I think for any partnerships is just good communication channels. And if you keep in good communication with your partners and they keep good communications with you, you can understand their perspective, where they're coming from, what is it that they're looking, and what it is that you're providing. And that really helps you to build expertise and address those special use cases that come out of it.
It really does come down to those relationships. In terms of what I look for in good partners, be innovative, bring something different to the table and think differently. So a lot of what we do, we don't do a solution for a single member. It has to benefit the group, right? And so you have to think about changing the delivery model a little bit. And that's what I like to challenge people to think sometimes differently, is that, can we do this not just for one, but can we do it for many?
So a final question to wrap up. And if I can ask you this, to frame this as kind of your tagline, what's the one partnership tip or idea that everyone here today can take away and act upon, that they can jot down on the back of a napkin as they're sitting sipping their tea and take away with them to be able to act upon tomorrow? Justin, if I can start with you.
So something that I focus on a lot, if you're looking to go and get a new vendor for software or a solution, is 3 really key things that I kind of focus on and tell people, hey, it doesn't matter who you go with, you should probably ask these three key things. Number one, I always like to ask is, who owns the data? The municipality should own the data. If you go and you partner with someone, you want to make sure that that data is getting to the right place. Number 2 is, where is the data stored? So the information, if it is on premise, is it your server? Do you have the people in place that are able to secure that server? If not, if it's going to the cloud, where is your provider storing that data? Is it in Canada? That's a big thing. Is it in Canada, or is it going to the United States? Are you comfortable with that? The last thing is, where is it developed? Is it developed in Canada by developers in Canada, or is the provider outsourcing? This is really key because if you're outsourcing, lots of your data might go with it when they're building a beta. They're going to need some sort of data, some sort of feedback, and some sort of access to your environment to be able to build this. So are they doing that in-house in Canada, or are they outsourcing that? That's really key. So if you can ask those questions when you're in your department meeting looking to buy a vendor, those are some questions you can ask that get some really good alignment, and it'll be much easier for you to purchase and when you're looking to make a partnership with your next vendor.
Great. I think that's a real tactical checklist that folks can go through. Thank you. Barb, your one partnership tip or idea that everybody can take away from today.
I would say, come to the table with a clear set of expectations and what success is going to look like. How are you really contributing to the people you're serving or providing a solution to?
And be clear about that. Excellent. Yeah. Roy, from your perspective, your partnership tip or idea that everyone can take away.
I'm going to say that partnerships and collaboration are no different than any relationship between people, right? So I'm going to say that the same rule that would apply to relationship with people, which is to be flexible and open-minded when you're having discussions with them, is really what I think should be applied in any discussion that you're having with different organizations. So that would be my big suggestion for everybody.
Thank you very much. And to wrap it up, Darren, your one partnership tip to take away.
I think my takeaway would be that, following on Roy's comments, relationships are everything. Build them and you'll be successful.
Excellent. So alignment, communication, flexibility, and relationships. A big thank you to our panelists, to Dr. Barb Carra, to Roy Tal, Justin Rutley, Darren Young, and thank you to all our participants and indeed our partners in Technicity West. Thank you.